You just see me in the back. Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I had a mental breakdown. A bad one. Still kind of not okay. To the point where I got so insecure that I deleted every video except for one, which is the one that kept me
sane.
Yeah. The video. This is my dog. I have two. Well, the other one's sleeping, so we're gonna ignore that. Anyway, so Emily convinced me to start filming again.
Why don't you say it one more time?
So today's video is going to be a story time. Yeah. It's about our crazy, psychotic teacher named Newton was the name we're using,
his
right?
name's Newton Ronaldo.
As of today, because
we're not exposing anyone, because although we don't respect him, we respect his family.
Coach Newton was our 8th grade English teacher. We had him 8th period with a class.
Class of about 15, all girls.
All girls. We were all girls because that was the period of boys athletics, so all the boys were like, let me go work out. Hated that. So we're telling y'all a little story about how he was crazy sexist.
I would say just crazy sexist, super conceited. Just like, it was like, I wouldn't say insane. He had some serious narcissism going on.
Yeah, that's true.
So professional.
We were sitting in class and there was this girl. We're going to call her, what did you say we were going to call her? Tiffany.
Yes.
We're going to call her Tiffany just for respect of her. Tiffany asked Newton how he met his wife. Because, you know, we were all kind of curious because he was kind of a dish towel. He was an awful human being, so we were all concerned. We were all confused on how he has a wife. So we're all expecting this like cute little lovey-dovey like story on like this little backstory on why they're married.
As most marriages are. Yeah.
He starts off his story with, we had a mutual friend, like, you know, mutual.
We'll call him Robert.
Robert was like, yo, Newton, there's this girl.
Oh my gosh!
Newton, there's this girl. She's sweet. She's kind. She's not. I wouldn't say that because then he would have. Anyway, she had a good heart. You know, she's overall
she's a good person.
Great human being. Yeah. And so Newton was like, okay, cool. So Newton and what are we gonna call her? Newton's wife, current wife, at the moment. So he was like, we planned a blind date at Applebee's.
You want apples or bees?
Apples.
I eat bees.
Newton tells us he made sure he goes through the back door of Applebee's.
Is that even allowed? Where is the back door?
I don't know. Do they have a side door or something?
I guess.
He told us the back door, but
maybe no. Didn't he say they had a friend that worked there and that had been through the kitchen?
Oh, probably. He goes through the back door to look at his date to make sure she is not ugly. And as he told our entire class, nice girls are fat, to make sure she wasn't fat.
Because she was described as nice. So he walked in to look at her before he actually went through with the date to make sure that she wasn't ugly or fat, because nice girls were usually fat. And it made it even worse because if she was, he was planning on ditching and just setting her up.
Because he's a dish towel. Anyway, he tells us she was a little bit on the heavier side, but he felt like taking a risk.
Because he, just out of the graciousness of his heart, he was going to let her into his life because she's just so nice and only a little bit heavier. And both of us have met his wife and his kids, and they're all so sweet.
They're the greatest people ever.
And it's just ridiculous to think that she is with someone like that.
I'm just gonna remind you, like a couple of times. We were a class of all girls with insecurities. A few days later, we're all still trying to comprehend what he said, because what a crazy time. We're sitting in class, and he never called me by my first name. He either called me that, or he called me by my last name. My first name was not mentioned, but that's because there's another girl in our class with the same name as me, so that's why. He was like, I'm just gonna say you, because that's who I am. He was like,
you're a baby sheep?
You, what do you look for when dating a guy? And no, you know, just being me, I was like, oh, someone who's like funny, because I have crazy anxiety and get sad quite often.
What he said about funny people, he said the same thing about nice girls. The funny guys are usually ugly because that's the only quality that matters, right? Your looks are the only thing that matters.
And let me tell you, this man's made me feel so, I don't know how you explain it, like,
dumb.
I don't see why he cares. We were 8th grade girls.
It's a preference. I mean, like,
why did he go around the class asking us what we look for in a guy anyway?
Because he made us do that list over like what's most important to least
Oh,
important.
yeah, that's where we're getting at. He had a warm-up, right? Don't warm up. The question of that day was, what do you look for, or what's most important in a relationship? What do you put first? Trust, love, or looks? So I was like, trust, love, looks, because common sense.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I would rather trust someone with my life, trust someone with everything that I can, than them be the hottest man alive. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth.
I mean, that's a plus. Everyone has to admit that it feels
Lay down, baby. Hey, lay down. Go ahead, keep talking. We're just trying to get her.
that it's good when you have someone that you think is attractive, but as time goes on and you are more attracted to their personality traits, they're going to seem more physically attractive to you.
We all get old and wrinkly, bud.
That's how it goes.
Anyway,
we're all just eggs. If you crack us open,
this
milk
man
is the same.
This teacher, this coach, this tells us looks should always be first.
What he said was when you like look at someone in the hallway,
come down.
Your first thought isn't like their personality. Your first thought is how they look and how they take care of themselves.
Honestly,
and I'm like, some
not
things
true.
are just like, some things you can't avoid, you know? Like some people, me for example, have acne because bad skin can be genetic, or can like other factors can lead into it. Just because of the way you take care of yourself doesn't always apply to everything.
Yeah, true.
You know? Cute. Oh my God, wife
so
right now.
While we're gonna go into another little warm up that he had us do that exposed me in front of our entire class.
Oh, I know what we're talking about.
My stepdad has cancer, which is a very sensitive topic for me because it's really.
It's obvious.
Yeah,
there really is no explaining that needs to be done for that.
It's just a really hard situation
for anyone.
And I'm very sensitive to stuff like that. And our school I used to go there, but
my school.
That's a story.
Is
very judgmental and rude and made me feel so uncomfortable about the situation.
It makes a lot of people, like that school, the people there just aren't understanding or empathetic about anything that you have to say, and if they are, it's usually fake.
So I never talked about it in front of them. My stepdad having cancer, because I was already getting comments about it. It's a very sensitive topic, and I still, get emotional about it to this day. One of his warm-ups one day were, what emojis described your... Last year was 2017, right?
No, last year was 2018.
No, when we wrote about it, it was 2017, right?
Yes.
What emotions described your 2017? I chose the kind of like iffy one where it's like, and we had to explain why we chose that emoji. So I chose mine because, stepdad had cancer and I was having a really rough time with it, and people were really rude to me about it and treated me terribly. So I just, I wrote about that. And he's one of those people, if he asks you to read, you're going to read because he forces you to. And so he was like, because I don't want to say my last name, read your warm-up. And I was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Newton, not today. It's just Mr. Coach Newton, sorry. So it was like, I just, I don't want to talk about this in front of this class because there's some people in here that make me feel threatened a little bit, and I just don't, I don't feel comfortable sharing it.
A couple times he was like, I'm gonna use your first name.
Yeah.
He was like, Maddie, I really think that you should read. I'm asking you to read. And she was like, and she continued to explain, no, sir, I don't feel comfortable. And then he continued to push, Maddie, I told you to read, and that's what you're going to do. And by the third or fourth time that he was asking, it was, Maddie, get up and read, or it's a referral to the office. I'm quoting right now. Like, this is so clear in my memory for some reason.
So, I already start tearing up because this is something I hate talking about in front of people.
And social anxiety is a thing, guys.
I mean, I was fine with reading some of them, but that day was just not a good time for me to read. I got up and I read out loud this heart-wrenching, really scary situation in front of this very judgmental class.
For the most part.
There was a few. He made a comment that I will never forget in my entire life. I will literally be graduating and I will remember this comment. He said, "Your 2017 wasn't that hard, now was it?"
Are you looking around because, like, are you trying to find the excuse that he was, like, using?
Yes.
I'm looking for it, too. I'm like...
What? My 2017 wasn't...
And then he goes on to explain how his was so much harder because he had to umpire the entire season.
I mean, it would make sense if he actually went through a really hard situation, but he had no right, no reason for him to say your 2017 wasn't that hard.
No, he did have a reason. It just wasn't the right reason. His reason, though, was he wanted to make it seem like his was more important. He was a horrible teacher. He was a horrible coach. He made us feel like absolute just crap. He was disrespectful overall.
Very.
Like, I can't think of a word that completely encompasses, but like sexist, racist, self-centered, just overall just disrespectful.
Lay down, baby.
Towards...
Okay. Sorry, I ran out of storage.
Well, just to recap, I don't know exactly where it cut off, but I was just talking about how I really couldn't think of a word that really encompassed all of these things that he represented. Just disrespectful was the word that I could think of. It was really hard to hear that her 2017 wasn't that bad compared to his endurance problems.
Which, I mean, I don't care because it may have been really hard for him. Don't get me wrong. But for him to say your 2017 was not that hard without even, I don't know, questioning the fact that maybe I really struggled with this was kind of, I don't know, just straight up rude.
I mean, there's the whole, like, athletics thing. Like, he was also our coach for athletics. And I was on basketball because I had to stay in athletics for the whole year if I wanted to get my credit so I could go to high school.
Yeah, he was just an awful person. Still is. Nothing's changed.
I'm a freshman, and so I see him sometimes because he comes up to coach the freshman basketball team.
Gross.
And softball sometimes, too. Oh, my God. Can you please...
This man made me very angry, and I'm glad I moved.
It's time to... Hi, baby.
It's time for us to go eat.
Yes, because we're so... I'm hungry. Hi, hungry. I'm Dad.
Hi, Dad. I'm hungry.
Whoa! How the tables have turned.
We're going to leave, and I'm going to edit this while we're eating. Hopefully it'll be up today. Maybe up tomorrow, depending on how bored I get with editing. Yeah, so... Stay tuned. There will be more videos coming, hopefully.
Maybe we can do another one tomorrow to catch up.
Yeah.
We can do another set of story time.
Oh, shoot. We have so many story times.
We have so many story times. It makes good content. God. Okay, bye!
That school is the reason I deleted all those videos.